So in 2020, Samsung is taking some serious strides with the Samsung Health app. There's literally so many different things that you can do with, different workout routines and stretch routines and food tracking, sleep tracking, this tracking, that tracking. I mean, there is literally a plethora of things that you can do in the Samsung Health app. So I think it's about that time that we take a fresh deep dive into what the Samsung Health app is capable of. What is poppin', guys? Welcome to today's Tech with Lando, where I discuss my experience with today's dopest tech. Now, if you're new, consider subscribing, because today we're taking a look at the Samsung Health app in 2020. So first things first, you'll want to do when you open up the Samsung Health app is go to your profile and enter your information. So you just want to hit the menu icon in the top left corner there, head to profile, and just enter your basic information, gender, date of birth, height, weight, that type of thing. And then most importantly is your activity level. Now you can hit the I here in the corner, and that'll let you know, give you a kind of description of the different options that they have, so you can choose the most accurate activity level for you. So heading back to the home screen, this is kind of like your home base. This is where you're going to see a whole slew of widgets that you're actively engaging with. And first thing first is the step tracker. So once you click that, you're going to see how many steps you've taken for the day. And then you'll also see the distance traveled based on the amount of steps that you've taken, as well as the amount of calories that you've burned taking those steps. But you can also then hit the trends tab up at the top, and that will allow you to see how you're trending over the past days, weeks, and months. Now, I believe it does default to 6,000 steps per day, but you can go ahead and hit the three dots in the corner, hit set target, and then you can choose how many steps you want to take. If you're noticing that you're crushing 6,000 steps a day, or if you're not really reaching that amount, then you can raise it or lower it to your liking. Oh, and by the way, it does still track whether you're using a smartwatch or fitness band or just your phone. If you also hit the three dots in the corner there and then you go to view your step count, that will allow you to choose whether you want to just use the data from your phone or from your phone as well as your watch. Now, the very next widget that you're going to see is the active time widget. And what that tells you is how much time you've been active throughout the day. Now, I'm pretty sure that it defaults to 60 minutes. But again, if you're curious about how much you should be working out, you can go ahead and hit the I in the corner there, and that's going to give you the recommended active minutes for adults and children as well. But as you can see at the top, it's got like a little pie chart, and that breaks down exactly how you've reached those active minutes. So for me today, it says 51 minutes walking and about 30 minutes of circuit training. Now, down below, you can see exactly how many calories you've burned throughout the day, both from activity and just from your body expending energy. But you can also see the distance traveled based on the amount of steps that you've taken there. And then down at the bottom, it'll break down any number of workouts that you've done. It'll show you how long you've done that workout and then how many calories you've burned from that workout. And then again, you can hit the trends tab and kind of go back in time the past days, weeks, and months and see how you're trending for, for your workouts. And so again, if that 60 minutes is not enough or it's too much time, you can just go ahead and hit the three dots in the corner, go to set target, and then you can adjust that down or adjust that up, depending on your needs. Okay, so I keep saying the very next widget that you're gonna see, but I keep forgetting that you can reorganize this list. So that's the very next widget that you're gonna see on my list. I've tailored it to my liking, and you can do the same. We'll get to that in a little bit, but just for the record, it may not be in this exact same order on your device, just for the record. So the next one that I have listed is the food widget. And from here, I would say the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is hit that information button there in the corner, just to get a little bit more familiar with how the tracking works and how that typically goes. So from there, right below that, you can see how many calories that you've eaten for the day out of the total number of calories that you should be eating. And then right below that is your nutrient balance score, and that just gives you an idea of how well balanced a meal that you've had for the day or for the specific meal. So for breakfast, once you click that, you'll see first thing that you can add a picture of the meal if you'd like. You can set the time in which you ate the meal, And then also you can see the breakdown of the total number of calories, and then as well the macronutrients, so the carbs, the fat, and the protein, and that's based on the number of grams that you've had of those items. Now from here you can see that I've added 5 items, and from there if you want to add an item, you just click add food item. You can hit search, and Samsung has done a really good job of adding just about everything on the market to the app, so you're very likely to find whatever it is that you're looking for. So once you find that, you'll just click on it. From here you can see the number of calories that it is, and then you can adjust the amount of servings that you had just from using kind of the scroll bar here. And if you scroll down a little bit further, you can see the breakdown of those macronutrients. We mentioned, the carbs, the fat, and the protein. And then right below that, you can see kind of a more in-depth breakdown of the nutritional information. Now, if this is an item that you are going to be eating on a regular basis, you can hit that star in the corner there. And what that will do is add it to your favorites list. And that way you can easily add it to one of your meals the next time that you're eating that item, just to make it a little bit easier for you. And you can see I've got quite a few items here in my favorites list. Now, if you are actually, if this is actually a meal that you eat, so if you typically eat all 5 of these items, for example, on a regular basis, say it's your Monday and Wednesday meal, you can add that to my food. And so once you click that, you'll add a name for that meal, and that ends up being added to this list here, my food. And then from there, it just makes it easier for you to add that information in. You don't want to have to search for each item every single time and continue having to do that every single time. So they've made it simple for you. You can compile that into one group under one name, and you can add that whenever you please. So very simple. And the same goes for lunch, dinner, the snacks that you can have as well. As you can see here, it's all the same interface, which is nice. And then if you scroll a little bit further, again, you can see the breakdown of that nutrient information. And then scroll down a little bit further, and it breaks it down a little bit more in depth with the nutritional information breakdown. And you can see exactly where you stand with these most important nutrients. And then you can click view more details, and then that gives you an idea of what recent foods that you've eaten have contributed to those more specific nutrition facts. And so it's very helpful information. It gives you a good idea of what food sources actually do contribute to those, and then again it breaks it down based on what you've recently eaten. Now, other than that, that pretty much breaks it down. Again, you can go to trends and kind of scroll back through the past days, weeks, and months and see where you stand as far as the amount of calories that you've eaten per day, and so on and so forth. The very next widget that I have is that weight management widget. So once we click that, at the very top, we're going to see kind of like a very cool color coordinated meter. And what that does, it will tell you based on how many calories it believes that you should be burning per day and how many calories you should be eating per day. There should be a specific deficit that you should be in if you're trying to lose weight, and vice versa if you're trying to gain weight. So for me, I'm supposed to be in a deficit of, I believe it's 399 calories per day. And so right now it says here that I'm 600 calories under. So that means I'm 600 calories below that roughly 400 calorie deficit. So I've got quite a bit more that I can eat today to meet that deficit that I should be in. And then if you scroll down under calories burned, it's going to show you how many calories that you burn. A typical person burns at rest. It'll show how many calories you've burned from light activities. So that includes like the walking that you do throughout the day, the basic things like that, the steps that you've taken. And then if you've done any workouts, it'll also show you the amount of calories that you've burned from that workout. As you can see, that's listed here. Also under calorie intake, it's going to show how many calories you've eaten for the day, and that'll be broken down based on the different meals or snacks that you've had. And then down at the bottom, because again, this is the weight management widget, you're going to see you'll set a starting goal, which I started at 192 earlier this week, or late last week, I should say. And then you can kind of track and look at the scale and see how much weight you've lost over time, or if you're trying to gain weight, how much weight you've gained over time. Now, if you click more weight data, that will again allow you to go to your trends and see how you're trending over time, just so that you can be aware and really track and get down to the nitty-gritty of your weight. Now, if you need a little bit more information about, being in a deficit or things like that, how to manage your weight, again, they've got that handy dandy information button in the corner. So once you tap that, you can kind of scroll through there and see, where you should be and what each color coordination means, and all that good stuff. And again, a little bit more about the nutrient intake and that breakdown there. Now, to set up the weight management widget, you'll want to hit the 3 dots in the corner and then set a target. So you'll enter in your starting weight and then your target weight, and then you'll go ahead and choose how much weight you want to lose or how much weight you want to gain each week. And then from there, it's going to determine how many calories you should be intaking and how many calories you should be burning. Now, if you want to eat more, then you can adjust, the meter here up, but you'll end up having to burn more calories, or you can adjust that down if you only eat a smaller amount on a regular basis. So you can tailor that exactly to your liking, which is pretty nice. Again, this is very helpful for those of us that are trying to track that information or gain weight, lose weight, that type of thing. Now, just as a pro tip, as you can see, if you end up going over the amount of calories that you're supposed to intake for the day, Samsung Health will actually recommend workouts that you can do to lose some calories and then make sure you're within that deficit that you need to be in. So as you can see here, it knows that I've been doing circuit training and yoga frequently, so it's letting me know that I can do 18 minutes of circuit training or 30 minutes of yoga to then lose those calories, just to make sure I'm back within that deficit so that I can reach my goals. So very, very neat. I really love that feature. This is one of the things that Samsung has revamped the app with, and this is exactly why we're taking a deep dive. Now, the next widget that I have listed is the exercise widget. So once you tap that, you're going to see a list of exercises, and you can choose your favorites on the right side using the stars. And those stars are actually the ones that show up on the home screen on the exercise widget itself. Now, if we go back into the exercise widget and we choose push-ups, for example, you can either choose the start button to start the workout, or you can enter the data manually after the fact. Now, for example, once we do choose enter data, you can set the start time of the workout, and then you can also choose the duration of the set, the amount of reps that you've done, and the intensity of those reps. Now, this is something that I helped contribute to. I told Samsung a while back that I would not use the app any longer, just because before you could only track the amount of time you were doing push-ups, and those that are working out, they don't track push-ups based on the amount of time. It's the amount of reps, and the amount of sets. So it's something I contributed to, so I'll take my credit. Thank you. But what's really neat is you can add several sets after that as well. So you can really get in depth with the amount of tracking that you can do specific to push-ups. Now, another really, really neat thing is, for example, with cycling, as you can see here, it will track the route that you took using Google Maps. And you can also set a distance target for the amount of distance that you do want to cycle. Same goes for running and things of that nature. So it's really, really in depth with the workout tracking. And then, of course, as usual, you can go to trends and see, go back previous days, months, and weeks and see the amount of cycling that you've done in this case, or the amount of push-ups, or the amount of circuit training, or whatever the case is. You can always go back in time and check that out. Now, if you go back to the home page and take a look at the exercise widget, you can see in the top right corner that it says recent workouts. Now, once you click that, you're going to see a list of your most recent workouts, and it'll show you the amount of time you spent doing it and the amount of calories that you've burned. And then in the bottom right corner of each exercise, you can see where it got that data from. So I personally have a Galaxy Watch Active 2, so that's what's listed there. And it just helps you, again, keep track of all this stuff. It's really, it sometimes sounds tedious, but it is very necessary to make sure you keep track of all these things so that you are staying on top of it. Now, if you do actually have a smartwatch or a fitness band, you can actually click on the specific workout, and then it gives you a way more in-depth summary of the workout itself, so you can see the different heart rate zones. And of course, you're going to need a lot more information on that. I did too. So you'll click that information tab there, and then it breaks down each different heart rate zone, and it tells you what happens to your body in those zones. So it's very, very helpful. But if we go back here, you can see a graph here of the different zones that I was in throughout the workout. And then you can also see the amount of times you spent in each zone. And then way down at the bottom, you'll get just a complete summary of the length of the workout, the amount of calories you've burned, your average heart rate, and your maximum heart rate during that workout. So again, so much work that Samsung has done to make sure that you can track everything that you need to track, and all the information that you need to keep up with on a regular basis. It's all baked right in, and it really just helps and takes that to the next level when you actually do have a fitness band or a smartwatch to assist in that tracking. Now, the sixth and final widget that we're going to take a deep dive into is the sleep widget. Now, once you press that, the first thing that you're going to want to do is hit that information tab. And from there, it's going to give you a little bit more information about sleep in general and the different sleep stages. Now, if we go back to the main screen here and you scroll towards the bottom, you're going to be able to see the average time that you go to bed, the average time that you wake up, and the average amount of time that you sleep. Now, this information becomes a lot more valuable if you do actually have a smartwatch or fitness band that you can wear throughout the night to really give you that more in-depth information. So it's obviously a little bit past midnight, so no sleep records for today. So if we go back to trends, and let's take a look at yesterday. So I slept for 8 hours and 3 minutes last night. And then it breaks down the 4 different stages. So the amount of time that I was awake, the amount of time I was in REM sleep, light sleep, and then deep sleep as well. And so it's very, very in-depth, and really you can only gather this information if you have a smartwatch or a fitness band, as I keep mentioning. And so again, with the trends, it's very, very helpful to see, the amount of time that you're sleeping on a regular basis, just so you can kind of get some consistency in there. And what's also really beneficial is that in the top right corner, if you do hit the 3 dots, you can set the time that you want to go to bed and the time that you want to wake up on a regular basis, so that Samsung Health can keep track of that and let you know, hey, you stayed up a little bit too late this week, or hey, you were waking up a little bit later than you wanted to. And it's just more helpful information to make sure that you stay on track and that you are on top of your overall health. So the next few widgets, we'll just kind of breeze through. They're pretty self-explanatory. So the next one up for me is the weight widget. So once we click that, of course, first things first, you'll want to take a look at the information tab, and that'll give you a little bit of information about body mass index, and that lets you know if you're overweight or underweight or, spot on, that type of thing. And then if we go back to this main screen here at the bottom, you'll see that it says record manually. So once you tap that, that allows you to record your weight on a day-to-day basis. You could do that on a daily basis, weekly basis, however you want to do that. And you can set the specific date and time that you checked your weight. You can add some notes, or you can add in your body fat information. That all can be tracked here so that you can go back at a later date and review that information. Now, of course, same as always, you can go to the Trends tab and see how your weight is trending over time. And that's pretty much it for the weight tab. If you hit the 3 dots in the corner, you can set a target. But again, if you are using that weight management goal widget that we discussed before, that information is going to be set automatically. And so you're not going to be able to adjust that from this widget. Now, the very next widget is the water tracking widget. So I personally try to drink about a gallon of water a day. So it has that broken down into cups. And 1 cup is roughly 8.4 ounces. So I try to drink about 16 or so cups of water per day. And you can just go to set target and adjust that if that's a little bit too much, and just do the calculations yourself to figure out how much water you should be drinking. Surprisingly, it doesn't actually have some information to give you in the water tracking widget. Now, the stress widget is actually pretty neat. It allows you to track your stress levels on a day-to-day basis, and it does that using your smartwatch or fitness band, and that uses the heart rate tracking feature to kind of get a gauge on what your stress levels are. Now, for me, apparently, I'm never stressed. As you can see, my average is pretty low, but I don't know how accurate this thing is. I would consider myself to be stressed from time to time, but that's pretty much it. Now for the stress widget here, it does give you a little bit more information, so you can hit that eye in the corner there, and that'll give you a little bit of information about stress management and things like that. Now you'll also notice down at the bottom that it says breathing exercise. So if you go ahead and tap that, I won't do it now because it makes very loud noise, but it'll do a breathing exercise with you, inhaling, exhaling, 6 times, and you can kind of set how long you want to do the inhale or how long you want to do the exhale, and that just helps to calm you down in those moments when you are stressed. Now, the last widget that I have listed here is the heart rate widget, which pretty much just tracks your heart rate. So again, if you have a smartwatch or fitness band, you can have your heart rate checked periodically throughout the day, and that information is synced right into the Samsung Health app. Now, phones back in the day, Samsung's flagships actually had a heart rate monitor on the back, so you could check that information on the phone. But if my memory serves me correct, they stopped doing that with the Note 8, I believe. I could be correct. You have to correct me on that in the comments if I'm wrong. But they no longer do include the heart rate monitor on the phone, so you will again have to have some type of external fitness tracker to gather that information. Now, if you want to gather a little bit more information about where your heart rate should be, you can just hit that information tab in the corner, and that'll give you a little bit of information, a couple graphs here to see exactly where your heart rate should be based on your age and your gender. Now, a quick pro tip here, and I just figured this out, if you need to export this information, so if you need to take it with you to the doctor's office or whatever the case may be, you can hit the 3 dots in the corner, you can hit export data, and then you can choose the period in which you want to export, and then down at the bottom you can choose the file type. So you can export that to a PDF file or even an Excel file. That way you can, electronically take that information with you to the doctor's office, or you can have that printed out and take it with you as well. So pro tip number 2. Now, once you get to the bottom of the home screen, you'll see a button that says Manage Items. And once you click that, you'll be able to see at the very bottom of that list the additional widgets that you can add to your home page. But you can also remove just by pressing the red line or the plus symbol. Also, from the Manage Item page, you can reorder these. This is what I mentioned to you earlier. I've kind of reordered mine to how I like it, and you can go ahead and do the same just by clicking and holding and then dragging up or down accordingly. So that's a nice customization feature there. Now, if you take a look along the bottom, there is the Home tab, the Together tab, and the Discover tab. And within the Together tab, it's really centered around tracking your steps against, friends and family or against other Samsung users worldwide. And sometimes they'll have, global competitions, and you can kind of see where you stand within the top percentile of worldwide Samsung users, which I really wish it was a little bit more elaborate, and I wish you could track and compete with your active time against your friends and things like that, but it is pretty much limited to the step count, which it's all right. It is what it is, but at least it's there. Now, the Discover tab is where Samsung has taken the most strides. There is so much information within this tab and so much that you can do in different programs and things like that. So we're going to take a little deep dive into what you can do within the Discover tab. So first and foremost, at the top, you'll see articles, which is pretty neat. So once you click that, there is different categories along the top that you can choose from and just take a look at the different articles. And one thing that I do like about that is that once you do click one, it does open up right within the Samsung Health app. It doesn't take you to an external browser or anything like that. So you can stay within the app, read a bunch of different articles. So some of the categories you can see here are fitness, weight loss, strength training. So it's very, very nice to be able to have that information and stay, up to date on, different techniques or different strategies and things of that nature. Now, the very next tab at the top is the Programs tab, and there is so much information within here. So if we take a look at the Programs tab, some of them it will pick out for you, I guess, based on your weight management goal and things of that nature. But if you scroll down a little bit more, you can see it'll show you what's new. It'll show you fitness for women. It'll show you weight loss programs, strength gaining programs. I mean, the list goes on. So what's really neat though is, for example, if you click one, You can see the total number of workouts that are included in the program and how long the program lasts, and also the amount of difficulty. Now it also shows you the schedule, then you can hit detailed schedule, and then you can get a breakdown day by day of the different workouts that you're going to be doing. Now, what gets even better is that at the bottom here, as you can see, you can click Add Program. And once you do that, you can choose the start date and the end date for that. And once you hit Done, that adds to your home screen. So that adds a widget to your home screen so that you can stay on top of, working out and doing that program. Now, once you click on that widget on the home screen, down at the bottom, you can click Download Workout. So that'll take a few seconds or so to download. In fact, I'll just download one of them for you. So arm circles. So once that downloads, you can click on that and then it shows you a demonstration of that exercise. So each and every program, that's included within Samsung Health, you can see the exact movement, and so that you make sure that you have the correct form and that you're doing it properly. So this is one of the great improvements that Samsung has made with Samsung Health, and this makes it a much more of a complex app that you can use for many purposes other than just tracking. Now, the third tab that you'll see up at the top is the mindfulness tab. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the app Calm, but it's an app that offers, sleep stories or sleep music or, music that helps you focus or relax, things of that nature. And you can actually receive a 6-month free trial of that program as Samsung has partnered with them. And so that's what the mindfulness tab is. Now, if I do open that, you'll see it'll take you to this home screen basically. And then from there, you can choose the meditation tab. And if you do that, it offers, different sleep sounds or sleep stories, something to help you with anxiety. I mean, the list goes on. It's chock full of different things that you can listen to. And so there's the sleep stories tab, and then there's the music tab, which is where I spend most of my time. I honestly do make sure that every night that I do go to sleep to some type of soothing melody or whatever you want to call it, to make sure that I do go to sleep peacefully, if you will. And to get that free trial, we're going to back out here and then we'll skip ahead to the promotions tab. And it's actually the very first one. So once you click that, you can see try Calm Premium free for 6 months. You hit continue, fill out your information, and then you have access to additional, soothing melodies and things of that nature. Now, if we do go back out here, the very next tab is products. And that just kind of gives you a list of, smart tracking products that you can purchase from Samsung.com, as you can see. So they've got the Galaxy Watch Active 2 or the original Galaxy Watch Active or the Galaxy Watch, and just different things to help you track your health in a more efficient manner, so to speak. And then if we scroll a little bit further, it'll show you some accessories. So again, those smart scales I mentioned, the blood pressure monitor, things like that. And down at the bottom, it shows you featured apps that do work with Samsung Health. So one of the most important ones, I think, is MyFitnessPal, which is a really extensive calorie counting app. And so any information that you do enter into MyFitnessPal, it does carry over to Samsung Health and vice versa. So that's food and exercise tracking. So that's really helpful. One of the benefits of MyFitnessPal, if you've never heard of it, is that they do have a scanner. So you don't have to worry about necessarily searching for the item that you're looking for. You can literally just scan the barcode and it pulls all that nutritional information into the app and at your convenience. So that's really nice that those work together. But they've got a whole bunch of different tabs up here for different apps that work and sync with Samsung Health. So they've done, like I said, they've done a lot to make this app really as extensive as possible, and I'm really appreciative of that, to be honest with you. So then on the home screen of the Discover tab, you can see that they've just got some programs that they've recommended for you or some articles they're recommending just to kind of keep you engaged and really keep you, keep your mind set on health. Now, if you head back to the home page and then you hit the 3-bar menu in the top left corner, you'll see that there are some options on the side there. So if we hit achievements, it'll actually show you different achievements that you've made. So for example, the amount of times that you've hit your active time goal or your food goal or sleep goal, you can see all that information there. And then down at the bottom, it'll show you your personal best. So for example, the most steps you've taken in a day, or the longest amount of time you've spent doing a workout, or the most calories you've burned in a day, things like that. And it really helps you feel good about yourself or whatever, or feel rewarded for completing these milestones, so to speak. You'll also see that they offer weekly summaries, and those actually do get sent out to you on a weekly basis. So if we hit weekly summaries and you click a week, it gives you very extensive information for that previous week. So some of it is, your daily active minutes, or, your weight management goals for the week, your sleep goals for the week. And it's just really extensive. And again, it really is just there to help you stay on top of your health. Now in the For You tab, they're really just going to show you some notifications about, promotions or, things of that nature. So here they're offering, Nutrisystem 50% off of their plan. So just a little bit of tailored information for you. Now, last but not least, if you do hit the accessories tab, it'll show you the accessories that you already have connected to Samsung Health, but it'll also show you a huge list of accessories that do also work with Samsung Health. So some of those are activity trackers or bike sensors, glucose meters, those things. And so it'll just show you a nice list so you know exactly which ones to buy, so that you can make sure that they do sync with Samsung Health, so you're not dead in the water if you buy something that doesn't actually work in the app. And then finally, notices. Here they'll just notify you of any services that are ending or new services that are about to start up, things like that. So just general notices in relation to the Samsung Health app. So like I said, Samsung has done a lot of work to make sure that the Samsung Health app is usable across a multitude of scenarios. They've added tons and tons of food that you can track, tons of accessories that work with the app, even tons of apps that work with the Samsung Health app, and not to mention all those programs that you can choose to help you attain a greater level of health. So I do want to applaud Samsung on that. I told them I gave them some feedback, and I told them that I was going to stop using the app because it was just too generic. It wasn't specific enough, and they've done a very good job to improve that. Not to mention it has dark mode, so it's got my vote on that one alone. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. I do appreciate you guys watching. If you do have any questions at all, do make sure to leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and also most importantly, make sure you turn on those notifications so that you can be notified when I upload more videos discussing my experience with today's dopest tech. Alrighty guys, that's all for now. Peace and love.